Over 1 billion people say these same words every single day. They open the Quran's very first chapter. They open the second. They open every chapter after that, 113 times in total, across 114 surahs, except one. One surah, and only one, refuses to begin this way. No introduction, no mercy formula, nothing. And here is what should stop you cold. This isn't some obscure, forgotten chapter. It's one of the longest, most consequential surahs in the entire Quran. For 14 centuries, scholars have asked the same question believers rarely think to ask out loud. Why would this one surah refuse the phrase that opens every other? By the end of this video, you'll understand not just why, but what the phrase itself was quietly hiding in plain sight this entire time. To understand what's missing, we first have to understand what's actually being said. Bismillah. Bismillah Ar-Rahman and Ar-Raheem. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Here's the crumb before we go further. The surah missing this phrase is At-Tawbah, the repentance, one of the longest chapters in the Quran. And the reason why is coming. But first, consider how this phrase actually lives in a Muslim's life. It isn't only recited in prayer. It's said before eating, before wudu, before stepping through a doorway, before starting nearly anything considered worth doing with intention. Said that often, a phrase can start to feel invisible, like a door frame you walk through 100 times a day without ever really looking at it. But here is what most people miss. Look closely at the actual grammar of this sentence, and something strange starts to emerge. Read the phrase again slowly. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Notice something missing? There's no verb. No, I begin. No, I recite. The sentence trails off before it ever tells you what's actually happening. That's not an accident. Mainstream tafsir holds that the verb is deliberately implied, not stated. Something like, I begin, or I recite, sits silently behind the words, understood but never spoken. And here's why that matters. By omitting the verb, the sentence puts Allah's name first, before the speaker even announces themselves. Think of it like walking into someone's home. You don't introduce yourself first. You let the space and its owner be named before you say a single word about yourself. That's the grammar of humility, built directly into the sentence structure. 2 names, 1 root. But here's where it gets interesting. Look at the 2 names sitting inside this phrase, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Raheem. Both come from the exact same root, Rahmah, mercy. So why does the Quran use both back to back instead of just one? This is where most reciters move too fast to notice. According to mainstream scholarly understanding, Ar-Rahman refers to a mercy that encompasses all of creation, believer and disbeliever, human and animal, without exception. Ar-Raheem, by contrast, refers to a mercy that is specific, reserved for the believers, especially in the next life. Picture it like a floodlight and a spotlight. One washes over everything in reach, the other narrows deliberately onto you. Every surah that opens with Bismillah opens with both. Mercy that is universal and mercy that is personal in the same breath. Which makes what happens next even stranger, the surah that refuses it. So now we return to At-Tawbah, the one surah out of 114 that carries no Bismillah at all. Several classical explanations exist among the scholars, and it's worth being honest about which ones actually carry weight. The most widely cited explanation traces back to the era of the Quran's compilation under the Caliph Uthman ibn Affan, may Allah be pleased with him. Some of the companions understood At-Tawbah and the surah before it, Al-Anfal, to be closely linked,
possibly even part of the same surah historically, and there was uncertainty about whether a Bismillah belonged between them. Other weaker explanations exist too, including a minority view suggesting the omission relates to the surah's severe tone toward broken treaties. But here is what needs to be said clearly. This is not because Allah's mercy is absent from that surah. Mercy remains one of Allah's defining attributes throughout the Quran, including within At-Tawbah itself.
So, which explanation do the earliest scholars actually lean toward? And what does caution even mean when you're compiling the literal words of Allah? We're about to look at the exact answer, but if you're finding value in this deep dive, take a quick second to subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming episodes. Now, let's look at what that caution actually looked like. Here is the detail that should stop you cold. The leading explanation isn't about anger, and it isn't about mercy being withheld. It's about scribes who were afraid of getting it wrong. When the Quran was compiled into a single Musaf under Uthman ibn Affan, may Allah be pleased with him, the companions were not simply assembling a book. They were handling the literal, uncreated speech of Allah. Every placement, every break between chapters carried enormous weight. If there was genuine uncertainty about whether At-Tawbah stood as its own surah or continued directly from Al-Anfal, the companions did not guess. They left the space exactly as they received it, refusing to insert a phrase they weren't certain belonged there. That's the twist. The missing Bismillah isn't a withdrawal of mercy. It's an act of reverence so careful, it refused to add even one phrase without certainty. The silence itself was the caution. So what does this actually mean for you the next time you say it? First, say it slower. A phrase repeated thousands of times can turn into sound without meaning. Let the grammar itself, the silent I begin, return. Second, remember both mercies. When something hard happens, Ar-Rahman is still present, whether you feel deserving or not. And when you turn back to Allah, Ar-Raheem meets you specifically, personally. Third, carry the caution of the companions into how you handle knowledge. They refused to add a single phrase they weren't certain of. That same care belongs in how we speak about faith today. Here's the detail worth sitting with. The very sentence you've said your whole life was built to hide its own speaker and to name a mercy that stretches from everyone down to you specifically. And the one surah that goes without it isn't missing mercy at all. It's holding a silence so careful, it became its own kind of reverence. 9 words said thousands of times a year, and most of us never once looked at what they were actually doing. Now you have. If this opens something up for you, the biggest thing you can do is subscribe, leave a comment, and share this with someone who needs it. That is genuinely how more people find this content. Please keep us in your prayers. Barakallahu fikum.